Welcome to day 14 of Natural Beauty Summit's Detox Your Beauty Regimen series. I'm Salome Sallehy, founder and president at Sugar Wax, a clean beauty company. And today I'm speaking with Ben Fuchs, known to many as Pharmacist Ben. Now, Ben Fuchs has spent over 30 years in dermal research. And today he's going to be sharing some key learnings from all of those years with us. More recently, Ben has developed a line of skincare called The Truth. Now, I am currently using the Vitamin C Duo, and I like this kit so much that we have included it in the Instagram giveaway gift basket. So if you haven't already entered, go to Natural Beauty Summit's Instagram profile. You can find the link and the email that you received this morning and look for details to enter there. In this series, we have talked a lot about skincare and skincare rituals and regimens. Now, we haven't necessarily differentiated between men and women, but in this interview, Ben will be talking about some of the structural differences between men's skin and women's skin. We also talk at length about supplements and how to use them to support your skin's health. So stay tuned for some game-changing tips from Ben Fuchs. I am here today with Ben Fuchs, and I don't even know what to call him because he has done so many things, and you've also read his bio prior to this, so you know about his extensive background in dermal research, and we're going to start right there. So welcome, Ben. Thank you for being with us today.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. Now, you've had 30 plus years of dermal research under your belt.
Yes.
And for us mere mortals, can you just share maybe your top 5 learnings about the skin's chemistry and what it needs to be supported, and how you've also, an extension to that question, how you've translated some of those learnings into your Truth line, skincare line.
Okay, that's great. So I'm a pharmacist by trade. I was walking through the basement of the School of Pharmacy. I smelled this pepperminty smell coming out of one of the rooms. I walked into the room, and lo and behold, there's this laboratory with beakers and Erlenmeyer flasks and bubbling and hot plates and all kinds of good stuff in there. And I started talking to the little old man who was in the laboratory. It turns out that this little old man was the guy who invented Blistex, medicine Blistex. And long story short, I ended up being Dr. Jones' research assistant and working in the Blistex lab for 4 years while my colleagues were off getting their internship hours in drugstores. I was getting my internship hours in the Blistex lab. And what I learned from working in the Blistex lab is there were things that we could do topically to the skin to create changes in the skin. But in order to do that, we had to accelerate biochemistry that was already occurring in the skin. In other words, the skin already grows, the skin already heals, the skin already has moisture factors built into it. The skin is always secreting collagen. The skin is always growing and developing the stratum corneum, the surface, the barrier. It's always doing its business. And what we consider beauty in terms of skincare products is really just a natural function of the skin. And if we want to be beautiful, we don't really have to fix anything. We just have to feed. We just have to enhance and sustain chemistry that's already occurring in the skin. And this sounds kind of logical and common sense, but the skincare world, when I graduated pharmacy school back in the mid-1980s, the skincare world was really based on just superficiality. It didn't really create changes in the skin, permanent changes in the skin. It didn't really help the skin heal. It didn't really accelerate anything that was going on in the skin. It was just working on the surface. It was creating superficial changes, cosmetic changes, changes in feel maybe, changes in texture. But skincare world wasn't really addressing biochemistry. Number one, it didn't really know at the time how to address biochemistry. And number two, if you could address biochemistry, you're moving from cosmetics into drugs. The definition of a drug is something that changes the body. Something that comes in from the outside is put into the inside and changes the body. If it changes the body and it comes in from the outside, technically it's a drug. Well, what do you want your skincare products to do? You want them to change your body somehow. So you want, technically speaking, if a skincare product worked, it would have to be a drug. So I started to make it my business to figure out how could I create changes in the skin, permanent changes, healing changes in the skin without going into the world of drugs. And I came across a strategy, I came across an idea that's really quite common sense, but back in the mid-1980s, it was somewhat revolutionary. And we're understanding a little bit more of it today, but we still haven't really grasped the magnitude and the importance of this concept. And that was, if you could take the molecules in the skin that were already healing the skin, that were already moisturizing the skin, that were already making the skin beautiful and strong and robust, and then put those molecules in a skincare product, you could create changes the way the body or the skin wants to create changes, or the way the skin inherently evolved to create changes without entering into the world of drugs. Why? Because those molecules are already in your body. Those molecules are not coming in from the outside. They're already part of your body. You say, well, gosh, that sounds good. Where am I going to get those molecules from? Well, it turns out that the molecules I'm talking about are basically nutritional molecules, nutrients. And this was one of the great discoveries that I made, probably the most important discovery that I made, was that there were certain things that we call nutrients, nutritional elements, that we could put on top of the skin that would create changes in the skin, permanent changes in the skin, the way the skin evolved to create changes without entering into the world of drugs. The first thing I did this with was vitamin C. And today we all know about vitamin C in the skin, but in 1990, when I started to work with vitamin C in the skin, nobody had any idea that you could actually put vitamin C on the skin and create changes on the skin. Well, I developed some very powerful vitamin C products, which I still use a lot of vitamin C today. And vitamin C was the first active ingredient that I started to work with. And the first big discovery or aha experience that I made was that you could use vitamin C topically on the skin and create changes. Now, today it's common knowledge, but back in the late 1980s, early 1990s, nobody had heard of that. The second thing I learned was that the skin, like the body, this is really important. And by the way, everything we talk about with the skin is true about the whole body. The skin is like an icon. It's like an example of everything that's true about the body. So one of the mistakes we make in terms of the skin, and we make it in terms of the body, is we don't distinguish the cells from the stuff. What do I mean by that? The body is made up like raisin bread. There's two components to raisin bread. What are the two components of raisin bread, Salome?
Bread and raisins.
Right? Bread and raisins. Well, the body's built up the same way, except we don't call it raisins and bread in the body. We call it cells and stuff. Now, how is this important? Well, when we're sick, whether we're sick inside, heart disease or pancreatic disease or liver disease or intestinal disease, or whether we have a problem on the skin, we don't have a problem at the level of the stuff. We have a problem at the level of the cell. The cell is where you have to be if you want to create changes. Now, inside the body, what that means is you've got to do things, you got to feed the cell. And luckily, inside the body, we feed the cells through food. We eat food, it goes into our digestive system. Digestive system breaks it down, it goes into the bloodstream, and then the blood delivers the nutrients to the cells. Well, with the skin, it happens the same way. But with the skin, we have an extra route of administration. With your heart cell, or your liver cells, or your intestinal cells, you got to go in through the blood. You can't go into the intestine topically. You can't go into the heart topically. You got to go in through the bloodstream. But with the skin, we have an outside-in approach that we can take in a way that you can't do that. Am I losing you? It looks like you're cutting out there, Salome.
Oh, no, I'm here.
Okay. So with the skin, we have a way that we can address the cell outside in. It's not that simple. See, the skin, contrary to appearances, you look at the skin, it doesn't look like it, but it's stratified. It's layered. And the good stuff is in the bottom. The good stuff, meaning the cells, are located in the bottom. So if you want to be at the level of the cell, which is where you need to be to create changes, because everything comes out of the cell, you've got to figure out, number one, how to access the cell. And number two, you've got to figure out what is it that you can use, what can the cell, what can you put in a product, and what can you put topically that the cell will respond to? The cell's not going to respond to just anything. So you got two issues here. We got to figure out how to get through the skin, through the surface, and then we got to figure out what kind of ingredients or what kind of substances the cell will respond to. The cell won't just respond to anything. In fact, there's very few things that the cell will respond to. Cell has been around for 3.5 billion years. That's when the first cells arrived on planet Earth, 3.5 billion years ago. And in those 3.5 billion years, the cell has evolved a menu with which it eats from. It doesn't just eat anything, it eats a menu. And that menu is what we call the mighty 90 essential nutrients, which are vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and fatty acids. There's about 90 of them altogether, and these are the only things that a cell needs. That's it. Now, topically, a cell still needs 90 essential nutrients. A skin cell still needs 90 essential nutrients, but there's only a couple of them that you can get that will actually access and trigger activity through topical administration. Not a lot of them. The second thing I learned is that if you want to create beautiful skin from a topical perspective, you've got to give the cell the stuff it needs, which means you've got to get to the cell. It's not enough just to be topical. Most skincare products are topical. They work on the surface. If you really want to create changes in the skin, you got to figure out how can you get to the level of the cell. So the second thing I learned is that you have to address the skin cell if you want to have beautiful skin. Okay? The most important way to address the skin cells, what you eat, is through the mouth and through the blood, digestive system and into the blood, and then stuff gets delivered to the skin cell. But because the skin is on the outside of the body, we have a second way that we can address the skin. So the second thing I learned is you have to address the cell, and that requires a certain strategic approach for putting things on top of the skin and then getting it down into the level of the cell. Third thing I learned was that beautiful skin is not a beauty issue. It's a health issue. See, I'm not a beauty professional. I don't know anything about beauty. I'm a health professional. And when you have dry skin, you have a health condition. When you have rosacea, you have a health condition. When you have acne or eczema or psoriasis or accelerated aging or photo damage or whatever it is, whatever kind of skincare issue you don't have a beauty problem. You have a health problem, which
Such
means
an important message.
It's huge. It's huge because check this out, Salome. Your dry skin is a precursor to cancer. Your dry skin is a precursor to heart disease. Your dry skin is a precursor to biochemical bodily breakdown that's internal. Now, I'm not saying everybody who has dry skin is going to get cancer, but I'm saying the same mechanisms that are responsible for skin dryness, the same biochemical breakdowns that are responsible for skin dryness can lead to cancer, can lead to other health issues. Just to give you a simple example, if you have dry skin, which everybody considers to be cosmetic, and not only that, but most people have. Do you know most people have dry skin? And human skin should never be dry. So if you have dry skin, that can be indicative of fat malabsorption. Okay? If you have fat malabsorption, that can be a sign or a precursor to vitamin A deficiency. Vitamin A deficiency can lead to cells not growing correctly. Cells not growing.
You're a busy guy.
The cells not growing correctly, and that same dysfunction in how cells grow or how they divide or how they differentiate can ultimately lead to cancer. So your skin conditions are an announcement that something is going wrong inside the body that can lead to all kinds of health issues, including cancer. Now, keep in mind, I'm not saying that everybody who has dry skin is going to get cancer, but I'm saying that these are announcements, or these are the skin talking to us, and that if we cover it up with a moisturizer and don't really correct the problem, we've missed an opportunity to prevent disease. We've missed an opportunity to slow down the aging process internally. So our obsession with beauty and our focus on beauty with the skin is causing us to miss an opportunity to correct health issues internally that can save us from long-term health challenges later, not to mention disease states. That's the third thing I learned, was that if we have a skin condition, it's not a beauty problem, it's a health problem. And the fourth thing I learned is that taking care of your skin is not vanity, it's health. Your skin is an organ of the body. We always say the skin is the body's largest organ, right?
Yeah.
So why is it that we treat the skin so casually? We say, oh, it's just the skin. It doesn't really matter. You know, Salome, I don't mean to pick on you here, but you're a woman. I bet you used a skincare product today, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
More than one.
More than one. Okay. Do you know what you put on your skin?
Probably not to the molecular level.
The chemicals, yes. Because we don't see the skin as a fully fledged organ, we think it's okay just to take something, squeeze on, rub it on. Would you do that to your liver? Would you do that to your heart? Would you do that to your intestine? Would you do it to your spleen? Would you do it to your lung? No, because the spleen and the intestine and the lungs, they have a sense of, they have a certain gravitas. There's a certain seriousness that's associated with your heart that the poor skin, it doesn't get that same kind of attention and love and seriousness and respect. So the fourth thing I learned is that even though we give lip service to the skin being body's largest organ, we don't treat it like an organ. We treat it like it's just some covering on the outside of the skin. And that's why it allows us to squeeze the stuff out of the bottle and just go rub it on. I don't know what the heck I put on my skin. You might be even watching TV and rubbing it on, or you might be talking to your husband or your wife and rubbing it on, not even paying attention to what you're rubbing it on. And it's because we don't respect the organ called the skin. We don't give it the kind of respect that we would to any other organ of the body because it's on the outside, it doesn't really look like an organ. And then the fifth thing I learned was that you have to understand the importance of nutrition, internal nutrition. Now, all my truth, and you asked how this led to my truth formulations. Well, all my truth formulations are nutritionally based. I consider myself, I'm a registered pharmacist, and I'm a licensed pharmacist in the state of Colorado, but I consider myself a nutritional pharmacist. I use nutrition where other healthcare professionals, pharmacists use drugs, because I look at nutrition as what the body really needs. And I look at drugs as what they are, toxins and poisons. When you take a prescription drug, or any drug, your body has to clear that out like it's a poison. When you take a nutrient, the body incorporates it into itself and into its chemistry and into its structure and works with it and utilizes it. So I consider nutrients to be what drugs dream they could be. A drug, when it goes to bed at night, dreams it was vitamin C. Because drugs are the ideal perfect drug is a drug that has multiple benefits with no toxicity. Well, guess what? That's what a nutrient is. It has multiple benefits for the body with no toxicity. Multiple benefits because every system in the body uses nutrients. No toxicity because the body has evolved to use nutrients. So when it comes to any health issue, whether it's diabetes or whether it's heart disease or cancer or intestinal problems or autoimmunity or fibromyalgia, there is a nutritional strategy that you can use to heal and recover from that disease state. Every disease state is responsive to good nutrition and diet and food and digestive strategies. Likewise with the skin. You don't need a lot of ingredients on the skin because if you're addressing the cell, and that's what you really want to be doing is addressing the cell. The cell has evolved over the course of 3.5 billion years to work with a certain menu of nutrients. And you don't need any medication. You don't need any fancy ingredients. You don't need any fancy herbs or fancy skincare formulations. You need basic raw materials, which is what I call nutrition. So the fifth thing I learned was that good nutrition, whether it's topical nutrition or whether it's internal nutrition, can help you address all your skin health issues or skincare issues.
Wow, there is so much to unpack in there. Thank you so much for going so deep into it. And also the perspective of, the skin being your largest organ. A lot of people say that, but I don't think a lot of people really live it or understand what it means.
Yes, because it doesn't look like an organ, Salome. When we think of an organ, we think of the heart, and it's like it throbs and it's gooey, and you don't want to see an organ, right?
No.
If I said, Salome, would you like to see your liver? You'd be like, no, thank you. I know it's there, right? Or would you like to, take your loved one, your husband or somebody, your mother, would you like to see her heart or her intestine? No, it's an organ. It's kind of globby and it's gluey and it's gooey and it's throbby.
It's meant for the inside.
Right? It's for the inside. So we don't look at the skin that way. The skin doesn't have those qualities because of this surface, this stratum corneum surface. But if you ever burn yourself and you look at your skin underneath the surface, you're like, ugh, it's all bloody and it's good. Then you start to see its organ-like nature. Exactly. So we have to make an intuitive leap. We have to kind of use our X-ray vision or our imagination in order to see the skin as an organ. And when we do see it as an organ, we will begin to treat it with much more respect. And that's really, I said the word respect several times, because to me, that's what it is. Treating our skin with good products is a question of respecting the skin. Using ingredients, all of the ingredients I use in my treatments are either what's already in your skin or they're analogous to things that are in your skin. So that when you put the ingredients that are in truth treatments or you put truth treatments on your skin, the ingredients that we select, your skin says, welcome home. It says, I know what you are. I know I've seen you before. I can work with you. To me, this is respect. So when I'm creating a product, the ingredients I'm putting into my product are respecting your skin. Not only are my ingredients respecting your skin, I'm respecting your skin. And I want you to respect your skin. So when you use truth treatments, you apply the products very carefully. You apply like medicine. You use only 1 or 2 drops of truth transdermal C serum. All my products are formulated to be 100% active and functional. That means I don't use preservatives. I don't use fillers. I don't use water. I don't use vegetable oil. I don't use silicone. I don't use ingredients that are disrespectful to your skin, which allows you, when you apply the products, to respect your skin. And that's, to me, that's why I've used the word respect so many times. To me, it's a question of respect. Respecting ingredients, I'm respecting you, and you're respecting your skin.
And we started this conversation with you saying how it's basically common sense. And the way you talk about it, it's so logical and common sense, but it's kind of a new approach that, formulators like yourself are starting to now just take to skincare products. And, I think of my journey with developing a couple of products for our Sugar Wax line and having this idea of like, well, why should it be in there if it's not going to do something good?
Exactly.
And never mind the ingredients that are in formulas that are actually having an adverse effect. Now, I'm going to shift gears here for a minute because we've really touched on the skin, and skin is just one part of the equation. And then in terms of some of the lifestyle or behavioral factors, you started to touch on these that contribute to the accumulation of toxins in our bodies. What are some of the things that you've seen or you've noted in your years? And I'd love to hear from you about what are some of those behavioral lifestyle factors amongst men versus women? How are they different?
Well, first of all, skin is skin and cells are cells. And if I took a skin cell out of you and took a skin cell out of me and put them side by side, you couldn't tell which one was the man's skin cell and which one was the woman's skin cell. So at the cellular level, which is really where you want to be if you're going to create changes in the skin, if you want to affect the health of the skin, there's really no difference between male and female skin. However, men are producing more testosterone, women are producing more estrogen. And testosterone makes your skin nice and strong. Estrogen makes your skin nice and soft. So women tend to have softer skin, more delicate skin, and men tend to have tougher, stronger skin. That means that you can do a heck of a lot more with male skin than you can with female skin. And I personally like working with male skin a lot more than I like working with female skin because male skin is so much more forgiving. That's because testosterone is very forgiving. Testosterone, male hormone, is an immune suppressant. It suppresses the immune system, which is why men don't get sick as much as women. Women are more prone towards autoimmune disease. Women are more prone towards fibromyalgia. Women are more prone towards hypothyroidism. Women are more prone towards depression. Women are more prone towards neurological issues. Women are more prone to depression, I think I said. Women are more prone towards illness than males are. That's because estrogen is an immune activator, and testosterone is immune suppressant. So there's a lot more things you could do with male skin than you can with female skin. So personally, I prefer working with male skin than female skin. Although, there's a lot of things I like working with female skin too, but male skin is more forgiving. Secondly, men shave, and that has a stimulating effect on the skin. So male skin tends to have more robustness to it. They're doing things that stimulate collagen production on a regular basis, and they're doing things that strengthen the stratum corneum on a regular basis. So in addition to having testosterone, which has an immune dampening effect, men are also building up the stratum corneum on a regular basis because they're shaving on a regular basis. Most men are shaving on a regular basis. So male skin tends to be stronger and more robust for a lot of reasons than female skin. But you also said something very interesting about behavioral things that we do. And those are very important. There's a lot of things that we do, lifestyle kinds of things that not only don't only impact our skin, but they impact our body. And the first thing is food, the food we eat. And not just the type of food we eat, but food in general. What I mean by that is we eat way more food than we need to. And when we eat food, it costs us nutrition because food has to be broken down by the digestive system. Well, the body uses nutrients to run the digestive system. Food has to be processed at the level of the liver. Well, the body uses nutrients to support the liver, for the liver to run. Food costs us nutrients, and what's supposed to happen if we're healthy and we're living a good life is those nutrients are replaced by the food, right? The nutrients are
theoretically.
It should be positive in the sense that you're going to lose nutrients through your diet or through your digestive system when you eat, but they'll be replaced by the food. Unfortunately, the foods we eat today do not replace those nutrients. They have lots of calories in them, and we've got no problem with calories, but we don't have the nutrition. We don't have the vitamins. We don't have the minerals. We don't have the essential fatty acids, and we don't have the essential amino acids. So while we're processing the food, we're processing our hamburgers, and we're processing our French fries, and we're processing our pizza, and we're processing our potato chips, and we're processing these foods at the level of the digestive system, it's costing us magnesium, it's costing us copper, it's costing us essential fatty acids. And under healthy circumstances, those will be replaced by the food, but they're not in the potato chips. They're not in the hamburgers. They're not in the pizza. So we end up net negative. Now, this doesn't just cost us nutrition in terms of our insides, it also costs us nutrition in terms of our outsides. It leads to accelerated aging, and it leads to skin diseases, and it leads to all of the problems, all the issues that we have. Secondly, is the hormone cortisol.
Yes.
Cortisol, stress hormone, right? Stress hormone is a good thing. It's a good thing that we have stress hormone, right? Because that helps us handle stress. But you don't want to have your stress hormone percolating all day long. You want your stress hormone to go up when you're running from a saber-toothed tiger and when you have an emergency, not when you open up your mail and you see your credit card bills or your tax bills, or you listen to your wife or your husband, or you listen to your kids or your boss, or all the things that we have that are 21st century versions of saber-toothed tigers, or 21st century versions of the threats that we use from an evolutionary standpoint we grew up with. Today, all of those threats are 24/7, and they're not the kind of threats where we die. They're kind of threats where they're just low-level threats. They're drip, drip, drip stress. See, the body can handle intense stresses. Intense stresses, there's a really cool book called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. It's a book about the stress response. And the guy who writes it, he's a behavioral biologist or something. His name is Robert Sapolsky. And he says zebras don't get ulcers because when they're running from a lion, one of two things is going to happen. Either they'll get eaten by the lion, in which case they don't have to worry about stress, or they'll escape, in which case they don't have to worry about stress. So they don't get ulcers because they either die or they get out of the situation. We don't have that option with our 21st century stresses. Our stresses don't go away. They stay forever, and most people go cradle to grave with an elevated cortisol response. That elevated cortisol response for some people begins in the womb because our mother was under stress. Yeah. So for many people, that elevated stress response never comes down. When we're under that elevated stress response, that is, when we're subject to the effects of cortisol, we end up not healing. We end up not growing. We end up not repairing. In terms of the skin, that means thinning skin. In terms of the skin, that means skin that doesn't heal. In terms of the skin, that means skin that's predisposed to growth issues and oiliness issues. So acne and oily skin are caused by the stress response. On the skin, the stress response can show up as melasma and hyperpigmentation. So making sure that you're keeping your cortisol stable through emotional and mental strategies, as well as physical strategies. Sometimes we forget that cortisol and stress, I should say, is not just a mental and emotional issue, it's also a physiologic issue. So when you're low blood sugar, your cortisol will go up. And low blood sugar is a response to our high calorie and high sugar diets. So eating a lot of sugar, eating a lot of calories can cause cortisol problems. Digestive issues can cause cortisol problems. Disease states can cause cortisol problems, in addition to mental and emotional stresses. So cortisol is a big factor when it comes to lifestyle. Then there's estrogen. And I'm sure you know all about estrogen because estrogen can be a problem, but it's not so much estrogen that's the problem. Estrogen, as it turns out, is a stress hormone. It has some of the effects that estrogen has on the body mimic the stress response. So, for example, cortisol will cause melasma, but so will estrogen. So estrogenic issues can lead to inflammatory problems, can lead to wound healing problems, can lead to fibrosis issues, and most especially in terms of the health, estrogen issues can lead to autoimmune diseases, scleroderma and Sjogren's disease and psoriasis. And all of these autoimmune problems affect women far more than they do men. But here's the thing. While estrogen gets the blame, it's not really estrogen. It's estrogen that is not processed correctly. See, estrogen is estrogen is a very strong hormone. When I was formulating, I had a compounding pharmacy where I used to make topical products. And one of the topical products I'd have to make was estrogen creams for women. And estrogen creams are measured in tiny, tiny doses, 0.01%. So they're measured in the micrograms. If you were just a little bit extra in the estrogen, you could cause all kinds of problems. A woman would come back with migraine headaches or problems sleeping or irritability or digestive health issues if you were off when you were compounding the estrogen, because estrogen is such powerful, powerful stuff. Because it's so powerful, the body has to eliminate it out quickly. So estrogen secretion goes up and it's used, and then it's cleared out real quickly. That clearance depends on a healthy liver, and that clearance depends on a healthy intestine or healthy intestinal functioning. If your intestine is not functioning as well as it should, if you're constipated or you're clogged up, or if your liver's not functioning as it should, it's not breaking down the estrogen, toxic estrogen can build up. So what we call metabolites. I don't know if you've heard that term. Metabolites of estrogen can build up. These metabolites of estrogen are super powerful. They're called catechol-estrogens. They're even more powerful than estrogen. So the real problem with these estrogenic health issues that affect the skin or affect the inside of the body, it's not so much estrogen as it is poor clearance or poor detoxification of estrogen, which means if you have any of these estrogenic health issues, you want to work on intestinal health. And one of the biggest problems women have, a lot of women, is constipation, is being clogged up. Working on intestinal clearance using fiber, probiotics, things like butyric acid, which is a fatty acid. It's important for intestinal health. Glutamine powders, lots of things you could use. And then working on things, nutritional supplements to help the liver detoxify estrogen. And also things like progesterone cream or something called pregnenolone can be used to help detox or help balance out estrogen and also balance out cortisol. Many of the things that help you balance out estrogen also help you balance out cortisol because there's some overlap between cortisol and estrogen. But I'm not sure if I answered. There's a lot of stuff there. I'm not sure if I answered your question, though, about lifestyle.
No, but you know what? We're going down exactly the right path because I think one of the things that's or all the things that you've touched on kind of fall in alignment with each other, which leads us to my next question about supplements, because you're very well versed in supplements.
Yes.
There's clearly a need for supplementing because our food is depleted, the North American lifestyle. And now we've got estrogen and cortisol, which are also, contributing factors and really like magnifying this need for nutrition. But
there's a but there. I see a but coming out. but people have like all these supplements, their medicine cabinet, and they don't know what to do. And right? Is that what you're going to say, right?
Yeah, I find like supplements are such a slippery slope, and it even happened to me because like
you have to have a strategy, Salome.
Yes.
You have to have a strategy. You can't, a lot of people take, oh, I heard this is good, I'll take this. I heard that's good. Oh, my doctor said this is good. You end up with all these supplements and there's no coherency. There's no overriding strategy. See, you have to, there's two important steps to solving a problem. There's the strategic step and there's the tactical step. The tactics are what you use. The strategy is the overall philosophy. The different supplements, they represent tactics. Yeah. But if you don't have an overall strategy, the tactics aren't going to work. They're not going to work as effectively. You're going to get frustrated. The patient's going to get frustrated. They're going to say, oh, nothing works. Oh, this is a waste of time. Oh, this is a waste of my money. And they're going to end up sitting in your medicine cabinet doing nothing. So you have to have an overall strategy. So when I'm counseling somebody or putting somebody in a nutritional supplement program, I want to know what is the strategy? What are we trying to accomplish here? So let's take, for example, acne, okay? Acne is, you could do incredible things for acne if you understand, with supplements, if you understand the mechanism. So acne is a little tricky because there's different types of acne. But let's take typical teenager acne, okay? With typical teenager acne, you have a hyperactivity, a hypergrowth of cells, a hypersecretion of acids, cells that are not just growing fast, but are growing out of control. So you got to say to yourself, what is it that cells use to grow? What is it cells use to regulate their growth? Well, one of the most important nutrients that cells use to regulate their growth is vitamin A. This is why retin A is so important, retinol is so important, and vitamin A supplements are so important. It also turns out that vitamin A is involved in sugar processing. So the more sugar you eat, the more likely you're going to be vitamin A deficient. So understanding that vitamin A is important for cell growth and how cells divide, it's called differentiation. And understanding that the average teenager, the average kid is eating lots of sugar, you can see how vitamin A is going to be a very important part of an acne supplement program. And there's no acne supplement program that should not have a certain amount of vitamin A in it. Take zinc, for example. Zinc is involved in the male hormone system. Well, it turns out that testosterone, male hormone, is a very important player in cell growth and cell division. And this is why teenage boys get acne more than teenage girls. And this is why teenage girls who have acne tend to have a predisposition for producing a lot of male hormones. So understanding this, you can see, well, zinc is going to be an important part of an acne supplement program. So you can start to see, once you put together the mechanism of the disease state or the mechanism of a healthy state and what's missing in a disease state, you can start to add the correct supplements into the program. So if you have a strategy which is based on what's happening in the skin or what's happening at the level of the cell, that helps you understand what kind of tactics you can use in order to apply that strategy. But you got to start off with a strategy. For dry skin is caused by problems with fats. Under ordinary circumstances, you have lipids, fatty material inside the skin that keeps your skin from being dry. If you have dry skin, again, this is the strategy. If you have dry skin, well, you have a lipid problem. So understanding that you have a lipid problem is now going to help you apply your tactics more successfully. If you have a lipid problem, now we want to start working with the lipid system of the skin. For example, essential fatty acids, key players in the lipids, in the skin's lipid system. Now we know that we got to start supplementing with essential fatty acids. If we understand that there's a barrier issue sometimes with dry skin, that the skin isn't producing the barrier effectively, now we know we've got to start give supplements that help the skin make a more robust barrier. Vitamin A, for example, is important in the growth of skin cells. So now we know vitamin A is going to be an important nutritional supplement that you could use for building the barrier and helping with dry skin. So what I'm saying is you've got to start off with an overall strategy that will allow you to pick your tactics or pick your supplements to apply the tactics or to utilize those tactics more effectively. If you don't know what's happening, you're just going to take this supplement and that supplement. This guy told me this, and I heard this on the internet, and I read that, and my mother told me about this one. And you're going to end up with a whole mishmash of various supplements that don't have that don't fall into an umbrella strategy, that don't fall into a coherent philosophy that will allow you to leverage the individual tactics or individual supplements that you're using.
I think the term strategy is so important to use here.
In life.
And it also speaks to another part of the supplementing journey, which is you don't have to take every supplement permanently. So are you able to just talk about an example of a supplement journey on a time scale, for example?
I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah.
So, like you talk about the strategy and you're approaching like one problem, one layer at a time, right? So each of those layers, like if we're talking about acne, for example, if you're this or if you're a girl or a boy or a teenager or whatever, like there's a layered effect first, you know what I mean? So there's going to be, you're not going to take vitamin A permanently forever for the rest of your life.
Yes, you are.
Oh, you are?
Heck yes.
But what?
You want to be taking, because you said it earlier, you said our food doesn't have it. Our food doesn't have the stuff in it. And that's a really interesting point you said, Salome, because if you go on the internet and you do research on who I am, you'll hear that I talk about supplements all the time. You might think that I'm a lover of supplementation, but I'm not. Supplementation is a necessary evil. It's not perfect. It's not the best. I wish we didn't have to supplement.
So you don't graduate at any point from the supplements?
No, because until our food is different, until the way we grow our food, until our soil is different, until the way we process our food is different, until the way we ship and store our food is different. Our food is so corrupted and so adulterated and so empty from the soil level upward. Until we completely change our food supply, we're going to have to supplement. It's unfortunate and it's not perfect because the human body did not evolve to get its nutrition from pills. It evolved to get its nutrition from food. But we've done such a number on our food supply that you're really left with no other choice. And I have seen the most incredible turnarounds in health. Overall health inside the body, energy levels, and beauty and appearance levels when people get on essential fatty acids, when they start taking vitamin A, when they start taking zinc, when they start using N-acetylcysteine and magnesium and copper and all the kinds of supplements that I recommend, that there's no way anybody's going to tell me that supplementation is not extremely important and extremely valuable. That being said, I wish we could get everything from food. I wish we lived in the Garden of Eden and I could just pick the apple and it would have all the vitamins and all the nutrients that it needs. But you know what, Salome? We live in a certain world. We can't fantasize and wish we lived in a different world. This is the world we live in. So supplementation is necessary. And yes, you need to stay on it for life. Okay,
so let me ask a different question then. Is there like an optimal number of supplements that average, relatively healthy person that has an pretty good lifestyle? So, you don't have any severe diseases and you eat fairly a well-rounded diet with mostly whole foods. Is there a magic number of supplements that...
When you say supplements, I'm thinking as a technician, I'm thinking technically, you're thinking colloquially. Because I'm
thinking pills.
Yeah, you're thinking pills, right? See, you're thinking like a supplement that has a bunch of different things in it. I'm thinking, what I'm talking about is the individual nutrients. So there's 90 individual nutrients. There's 16 or so vitamins. There's 60 or so minerals. There's 2 essential fatty acids. There's 20 or so essential amino acids. These are all individual nutrients. You need them all. Excuse me. You need all. Come up to about 90 of them altogether. You need them all. So you say, is there a certain number? Yes, there's 90 of them.
Okay, but are those 90? Do they live in like 8 forms?
Different pills?
Yeah.
Different types of stuff? No, they don't. I mean, you can mix and match, and you can go around and try to find something that has everything in it, but it's really tough to do. I personally, I take a supplement. I'll show you here real quick. I use this one. This is a powdered drink that I like. It's called Beyond Tangy Tangerine. I use it every day. And it has a whole bunch of them in it. And that gives me basically the minimum wage of what I need. But then I start adding other things into it. So I personally take maybe 30 or 40 different ones every day. And that includes probiotics, for example. That includes things like lecithin granules, which aren't technically nutritional supplements, but they help support health. I take various amino acids. I do a big, I call a power smoothie every day. And then I do this every day. You know what this is?
Yeah.
Vegetables. A grind up vegetables all day long. And if you do a lot of vegetables and then you do some multiple nutrients, some multiple vitamin nutrients, and then individual ones, maybe specifically for if you have acne or eczema or a heart problem or diabetes, you know, you could probably get away with like one multiple and then maybe 10 or so individual ones, and then make absolutely sure you're doing vegetables every day. I like juicing vegetables because I don't have time to sit and eat a bunch of vegetables. You know, I'm a busy guy and I don't cook really. So I like vegetable juicing. And I'm telling you what, Salome, a Vitamix, you know what a Vitamix is?
Yeah. Oh, I've got one of those.
It's like a must-have. It's like the best insurance policy, health insurance policy you could ever use is a Vitamix. And if you're a busy person, I'm sure you're a busy person too, you can just throw a bunch of veggies in there and you got yourself a veggie juice.
Yeah.
And has the fiber in it. You know, that's a very important part of juicing. A lot of people will juice, but they'll lose the fiber. Sometimes you'll go to health food stores and they'll make juice for you. You don't get the fiber in there because people don't like the chunkiness. You know, fiber gives you a certain chunkiness.
Yeah.
Eat the chunkiness is good. The chunkiness is awesome for your digestive system. For women, the chunkiness is awesome for the hormone system, for the female hormone system. The chunkiness is really, really valuable. So Vitamix, juicing in a Vitamix, using vegetables in a Vitamix will allow you to bypass some of the pills that you'd have to take because there's a lot of good nutrition that you get in a Vitamix or in a juice. Also, liquid is the way to go because it bypasses digestive issues. Many people have digestive issues and they don't get the nutritional value out of the food that they should. If you have fat malabsorption issues, if you have a gallbladder problem, if you have an intestinal problem, if you have a liver issue, you may not be getting the B vitamins or the essential fatty acids or the vitamin A out of the foods that you eat. So pre-processing them by juicing or by using nutritional powders can help you get access to nutrients that under ordinary circumstances you wouldn't if you have some kind of digestive health issue, which, by the way, a lot of women have. Women tend to have more digestive problems than men do. Not that men don't have them, but women have them more than men.
Yeah. And I think that is such a great note to kind of wrap with. You've given so many great tips, so much information. I mean, I am learning a ton. You've given me tons of food for thought and supplements for thought.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Listen
to my radio show.
I will. So I just wanted to say to our viewers that you can get more of Ben Fuchs on his radio podcast. We'll include the links for that as well as his website and everything. And also a special treat to those of you who have tuned in all the way to the end is that we will be doing a draw for 3 sets of, can you talk about the products just a little bit?
Yes. So all my formulas are 100% active and functional. I don't put anything in my products that isn't going to help your skin. My favorite ingredient to work with is vitamin C. There's a lot of misunderstandings about vitamin C. The most important thing to understand about vitamin C is ordinary vitamin C is very unstable. It breaks down quickly. In fact, it breaks down almost instantly. It begins to break down almost instantly when it contacts water and when it contacts oxygen. Of course, if you put the product on your skin, the air will start to break it down. And even in the bottle, if it's in water, it'll break down in the bottle. A lot of vitamin C products turn brown right in the bottle. That's a sign of oxidation. The vitamin C we use is stable forever. It never breaks down. It's fat soluble, so it penetrates very effectively. Remember, it's not what's on the surface. That's the booby prize, is the surface. You need to be at the cell level. So exactly. So, and by the way, this is something pharmacists study. Transdermal penetration of medications is something we get two full semesters of in pharmacy school, how to get drugs into the bloodstream through the skin. Now, I'm not getting anything through the bloodstream, but I use some of those techniques in order to get vitamin C to the lower level of the epidermis and the dermis. So the 2 products we're giving away is a product I call my Truth Transdermal Sebum, which is, by the way, one of the ways I like to formulate is very little ingredients. I only like to use 3, 4, 5 ingredients in a product. I don't like a whole cocktail of ingredients. True Transdermal C Serum is just made with 3 ingredients. My vitamin C and my transdermal delivery system, which is composed of 2 ingredients. So it's basically a vitamin C delivery system is what it is. And we're going to give that away. It's our True Transdermal Sebum. It's made with almost, it's over 60%, 60% fat-soluble vitamin C. Now, if you know anything about vitamin C in the marketplace, you know most vitamin C products will have 5%, 2%, 10%. If you're lucky, you might get 15 or 20%. I love high doses because with high doses, you only need small amounts.
Yeah.
And I don't want my clients putting a bunch of stuff on their skin. The less you put on the skin, the better off you're going to be. And with our products, my products allow you to use very little product because they have so much active ingredient in them. So we're giving away a 15 ml size of our True Transdermal C serum, True Transdermal C balm, which is 60% vitamin C in a transdermal delivery matrix, no preservatives. I don't like putting preservatives in any of my products, along with our True Biomimetic Mineral Mist, which is based in our polyelectrolyte formulation, our polyelectrolyte solution formulation. Polyelectrolytes are electrical minerals that facilitate the penetration of other active ingredients themselves, as well as oxygen and water. And we're giving away our True Transdermal C Balm and our Biomimetic Mineral Mist. We call them our perfect pair. We put a little bit of our True Transdermal C Balm in the palm of your hand, spritz a couple of Biomimetic Mineral Mist sprays, rub your hands together, and massage it in your skin. And within one dose, you'll notice a huge difference. Within 2, 3, 4 doses, your friends will start to notice a difference. And all my products are healing products. So our True Transdermal C Balm is great for cuts, abrasions. If you shave yourself and get a little nick, you can use it to heal your skin. Because remember, healing and beauty are the same mechanism. Growing collagen, making skin cells divide, stimulating secretion of moisture factors. These are all health issues and healing issues. And our True Transdermal C Serum and True Transdermal C Balm and Biomimetic Mineral Mist are healing products, and they're health products that end up being beauty products as well. We're giving both of those away, three sets, and we call those our perfect pair. And if you want to learn more about our Truth products, they're all available at truthtreatments.com.
And we'll include the link as well. I love your philosophy to formulating for this line, and I'm so excited to try it myself.
Thank you, Salome. We need to send you some stuff.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. You're an absolute wealth of knowledge.
Thank you, Salome.
And I look forward to sharing this with everybody. So thank you
so much.